Hey guys, it's Brianna here. So the other day, well not the other day, it was actually a little while ago, I shot a video with my mom and I can't remember if I actually uploaded it or not, but basically the gist of the video was modeling consciously versus unconsciously. And I want to get into that a little bit, give you a brief synopsis, and then kind of go into the topic at hand and the lesson behind all that. So in that video, I'm kind of glad that I didn't post it, or if I did post it, then I don't know, it just was my favorite video, basically because I knew what I was talking about, but I didn't know the actual scientificness behind it. And if you're the kind of person like me where you have to know everything about something before you can actually teach it, hi, I'm a nerd too, we're out there, but if you're like me and you have to know everything about something before you can teach it, instead of kind of like, just regurgitating what you've heard, then I didn't know the scientific parts behind it, so I think the message that I had conveyed in that video wasn't very good. But I'm kind of going to give a brief synopsis of that, and then I'm kind of going to get into what I was going to teach about mirror neurons. So basically the gist of that previous video, whether I shot it or not, or whether I uploaded it or not, was that you are always modeling. You are constantly modeling behavior patterns, physical patterns, and emotional traits and energy signatures. You are constantly picking up on other people's stuff, if you will. What people give out, you are picking up on and you are mimicking. And this happens unconsciously. You do it all the time, all day, every day, and you don't actually know that you're doing it. And it's very interesting to see too. And just something that comes to the top of my head was you can tell who's following who in the industry that I'm in, especially in the company that I am, because we're a very close-knit, homey kind of company. And you can tell who's listening to who and who is listening to which leader, and so forth, by based on breathing patterns and the way they move their mouth, some of the things that the way they speak, and the way they carry themselves as leaders too. It's very interesting to watch and observe, and it's funny because it's coming from the girl who didn't actually ever like psychology and didn't believe in it, which is interesting. Anyway, this kind of brings me into the topic of mirror neurons. Right? So if you kind of get that you're constantly modeling, then that's great. Here is the scientific thing behind it, which I actually learned on a show called House years ago, but I had forgotten about it and it got lodged in my unconscious. And it's funny, when you channel your energy and you channel your mind in a certain way, you will always get it. Because I wanted to remember what it actually was, what the name of it actually was. And, I was focusing on it, trying to figure it out. And mirror neurons immediately popped into my head. And so I Googled it, and I actually found out that that is the legitimate term for it. So what a mirror neuron is, or mirror neurons, what they are there a certain class of neurons that lie within your unconscious mind, right? And they fire off and they pick up on other people's actions, behavior, and energy frequencies. So for instance, the phrase, a yawn is contagious. If I yawn, someone else will yawn, or vice versa. If someone else yawns, I will yawn, kind of thing. And they say yawn's contagious because your brain is registering that, mimicking that, and you are acting on that, which is a very interesting topic. So this kind of brings me into the topic that you're constantly modeling. You're constantly modeling, you're constantly doing things that other people say. You ever, kind of walk in, watch someone kind of like, I don't know, do something, silly, like, and accidentally hurt themselves, like stub their toe, walk into a table, or something like that. Some things that I do all the time, I constantly like walking into stuff. But you ever see somebody, walk into something and then you kind of like feel their pain, like, oh, ow, or, somebody does something, like they move their arm in a certain way, or they move their forehead in a certain way. I mean, like, you can tell people who follow Dave Wood, because Dave Wood, if you've ever seen him, he kind of like goes like this with his eyebrows sometimes, and you can tell who's following him and where they were, and then when they started following him and where they are now. It's very interesting. So those are mirror neurons, and I actually did a bit of research on this. If you go to, I have the thing pulled up on my phone, the brainfacts.org, and I'll put that link in the description or beneath the blog post. But I was actually researching that today at work, and it's a very interesting article, a little bit more in depth, and they talk about some of the the experiments they did and how they kind of came to figure this out. But basically, how that relates to you in your business and in your personal life is that where you are right now is basically from who you've been mimicking. So, for instance, if this is a common, common term, is that your income is within a couple of $1,000s yearly income of the 5 people that you hang around with most. And that's because you're mimicking them. And that's because you're picking up on their energy frequencies and their mindset. So if you want to have a different energy signature, if you want to become a different individual, then you have to start mimicking other people. You have to start modeling other people. So what this does for you in your business is awesome. So if you're like, for instance, if you're happy now, that's awesome. I'm so happy that you're happy where you are now. Let me show you a system where you can use and you can take your happiness and share it with the world. If you click the link below and you enter your email address in, and you can figure out how you can share your happiness with the world. And I think that's awesome. However, if you're not that happy, and if you're not really quite sure why you're not happy, and if you've listened to this whole, I think I've gone on for like six minutes or so now, if you've listened to this whole thing, that means that there's something special about you. If you're not that happy, that means that you want to change. And I think that's really, really commendable that you're listening to this and you're learning about mirror neurons, which is something that a lot of people wouldn't do. In fact, a lot of people wouldn't sit down on their, in their spare time and Google mirror neurons and, watch a video about how mirror neurons and what they can do for your personal life and your business life. So for you watching this video, I commend you for that. What you can start to do now if you're not happy is to start getting around people. So to start looking for the traits and the personalities and the energy signatures that you want to emulate. If you want to lead and you want to inspire, you have to get around leaders and inspirational people. You need to start filling your mind with inspirational thoughts and messages and people who are lifting you up. Stay away from the people who are bringing you down and just using you for other things. You need to start immersing yourself in a different environment. You need to start acting in a different way. And when you start acting in a different way and you start perceiving the world in a different way, and this is when you'll take a step back after doing this for a little while, after getting involved and joining a community that is just a little bit different than everybody else. You'll take a step back and you'll look at the world in a different way, and you'll think, how can I help more people live the life that I'm living now? And it's a very interesting point of view, and it's something that I've always wanted to have, but I never really thought it was possible for me up until recently. Up until I made a decision to actually enter my email address in. I clicked the link. Ironically, if you click the link below and you enter your email address in, you'll be able to see and immerse yourself in an environment of people who are changing lives and are of the group of people who are happy. And you'll be able to see and mimic these people, and it's almost like a controlled stalking. Now, I don't condone stalking. Just I've had plenty of stalkers, and I don't like stalkers. Don't like stalkers. But if you're ready to change, and if you're ready to make a change in your life, and if you want something but you're not quite sure what it is, click the link below, enter your email address in, and I will see you on the next video. Bye, guys.